Hey everyone, and welcome back to Market Plainly. Today, we're diving into an explainer on one of the most massive economic shifts in modern history. We're talking about Amazon. It is an absolutely incredible story. I mean, how does a localized online bookstore operating out of a tiny garage in Washington state back in 1994 transform into a multi-trillion-dollar technological hegemon? This is a company that didn't just participate in e-commerce, they literally re-engineered global retail, pioneered the public cloud computing paradigm, and built a logistics network that spans the entire globe.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering 1. Origins and the bubble, 2. The flywheel strategy, 3. AWS and the cloud, 4. AI and space bets, and finally, 5. Challenges and the future.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Origins and the Bubble, from Wall Street to the garage.
So picture this. It's July 1994, right at the dawn of the internet boom. Jeff Bezos is a 30-year-old vice president at a highly successful Wall Street hedge fund. He's doing great. But then he stumbles across a statistic that completely changes his life. Annual web commerce traffic was growing at a staggering rate of 2,300%. To justify leaving his comfortable career, he used a philosophical concept he called the regret minimization framework. Basically, he just asked himself, how can I minimize the future regret of failing to participate in this rapidly expanding digital frontier? That exact framework drove him to quit his job, scrape together about $250,000 from his parents, and launch a company originally called Cadabra. He actually had to rename it to Amazon pretty quickly after a lawyer misheard Cadabra as cadaver. Yikes, but why start with books? Well, it was a brilliantly logical entry point. Books had universal demand, low unit costs, and most importantly, there were millions of active titles in print that physical bookstores could literally never stock.
The site officially went live in July 1995, and the organic growth was just explosive. Within its very first month of operations alone, Amazon sold books across all 50 U.S. states and 45 different countries. By 1997, they went public, raising $54 million in an IPO that valued the 3-year-old enterprise at roughly $438 million. From there, they rapidly expanded into music and games, acquired European bookstores, and saw their stocks surge so high that Time magazine actually named Bezos its Person of the Year in 1999. But as we all know, the 1990s dot-com party didn't last forever.
When the bubble famously burst in 2000, a lot of single-category e-commerce companies completely collapsed. Amazon survived, but it required brutal operational discipline, including laying off 15% of its workforce. However, strategically, they did something during this time that analysts now view as the birth of their core competitive advantage. Bezos flat-out refused to manage for short-term earnings. He held on to a strict 10-year planning horizon, aggressively building out their technology infrastructure while all their competitors were desperately chasing immediate profits.
Moving on to Section 2, the flywheel strategy, building the everything store. In November 2000, Amazon did something that fundamentally changed online shopping. They launched the Amazon Marketplace, using a single detail page architecture. Now, what does that mean? Instead of hiding third-party sellers on a separate auction page, Amazon pitted their own internal retail managers against outside sellers directly on the exact same page. It was a ruthless display of customer obsession. By forcing internal and external sellers to compete, it dramatically increased product selection, drove down prices, and sparked these massive network effects that pulled in huge waves of consumer traffic.
And this kicked off their famous flywheel strategy. It's a strategic model where every single piece reinforces the others. Step 1, in 2005, they introduced Amazon Prime for $79 a year. This eliminated the friction of shipping fees and absolutely locked in customer loyalty. Step 2, in 2006, they rolled out Fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA, which allowed third-party sellers to just outsource their warehousing and shipping directly to Amazon. This effectively normalized rapid shipping speeds for everyone. Step 3, the ecosystem exploded. More Prime customers attracted more sellers, which brought more selection, which in turn attracted even more customers, reinforcing massive economies of scale. By the mid-2020s, third-party sellers accounted for over 60% of all physical units sold on the platform, generating hundreds of billions in revenue.
Okay, Section 3, AWS and the cloud, the hidden profit engine.
This is an absolutely crucial point if you want to understand how Amazon actually makes its money, because it's probably not what you think. The highly visible, high-volume retail side, it operates near break-even. The margins are incredibly tight. But Amazon Web Services, or AWS, which they launched publicly back in 2006 to rent out their internal compute and storage capabilities, operates on a capital-intensive utility model with operating margins consistently exceeding 25%.
Startups, massive multinational corporations, and even critical government agencies rely on this infrastructure every single day.
Listen to this staggering data point. In fiscal year 2025, AWS generated over $128 billion in revenue. But more importantly, it accounted for 57% of Amazon's consolidated operating profits. That's more than half. Business analysts widely accept that AWS is the true financial engine, subsidizing Amazon's low-margin retail logistics and its wildly expensive exploratory tech programs. Today, they hold a dominant 31 to 32% share of the entire global cloud infrastructure market.
Which brings us to Section 4, AI and Space Bets, the next frontier.
$200 billion. That is the projected capital expenditure budget for the 2026 fiscal year alone. It's a scale of corporate investment that is, frankly, hard to even comprehend. Amazon is deploying this mountain of cash to anchor its dominance in the AI supercycle. They are funding massive artificial intelligence data centers and deploying nearly 500,000 of their custom Trinium 2 chips in a massive compute cluster known as Project Rainier. Furthermore, they doubled down on their investment in the AI company Anthropic to a whopping $8 billion, essentially securing AWS as Anthropic's primary cloud and training partner.
But they aren't just building from scratch. They are aggressively buying their way into adjacent industries. Look at this expansion. Audible to dominate audiobooks. $13.7 billion for Whole Foods to anchor physical groceries. $8.5 billion for MGM Studios to feed Prime Video. $3.9 billion for One Medical to establish a real healthcare franchise, and nearly $1 billion for Twitch to dominate live streaming. Every single one of these moves is strategically designed to keep you entirely within their ecosystem.
And they are also looking beyond Earth, literally. They are pouring $10 billion into Amazon Leo, which was formerly known as Project Kuiper. This is a massive low Earth orbit satellite internet network. As of July 2026, they already had 396 production satellites deployed in space, making it the third largest active satellite network. And they've already secured major enterprise commitments from heavy hitters like AT&T, Vodafone, JetBlue, and Delta Airlines.
Finally, Section 5, Challenges and the Future. Navigating Systemic Friction.
Now, as the scale of this enterprise reaches historic highs, we have to objectively examine the very serious legal and regulatory headwinds Amazon is facing today. In September 2023, the FTC filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit. The regulators allege that Amazon maintains an illegal monopoly by using anti-discounting measures to punish sellers, coercing them to use FBA, and degrading search results with ads. On top of that, in 2025, the FTC secured a $2.5 billion settlement over claims that Amazon used manipulative dark patterns to trick users into Prime subscriptions and make cancellations impossibly difficult. Now, Amazon steadfastly defends its practices. Their firm position is that their business model intrinsically reduces prices for consumers, offers vast selection, and that they have simplified their user interfaces to comply with consumer needs.
Similarly, they are facing intense labor disputes. A grassroots group called the Amazon Labor Union successfully organized the JFK 8 Fulfillment Center in New York, and in 2026, the NLRB actually ordered Amazon to recognize and negotiate with them, an order Amazon is currently challenging in federal court. Concurrently, a Senate Help Committee investigation concluded that Amazon's obsession with speed created uniquely dangerous warehouses, citing injury rates vastly exceeding industry averages. Again, staying objective here, we must note Amazon's vigorous defense. The company points directly to their own data, showing a 28% reduction in serious injuries between 2019 and 2023, arguing that they absolutely prioritize worker safety alongside their operational efficiency.
All of this brings us to the ultimate question for the future. Business analysts broadly consider Amazon's model, where e-commerce, cloud computing, advertising, logistics, and AI all feed into and reinforce each other, to be perhaps the greatest business flywheel ever built. But moving forward, they face a reality of massive free cash flow deficits due to these AI and space investments, coupled with fierce regulatory limits and active labor organization. It's a fascinating economic balancing act that is absolutely going to shape the next decade of technology and commerce.
Thank you so much for watching this explainer on Market Plainly. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below letting us know what company we should cover next. But before you go, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. Can Jeff Bezos' original day-one startup mentality and bold innovation truly survive the massive structural and regulatory constraints of a multi-trillion-dollar reality? Let us know what you think in the comments. See you in the next one.